Can you hear me? That's fine. Okay. Okay, so me again. I'm not sure if you guys are watching these two videos on the same day, different days, different classes, whatever it may be. I believe it was a week apart, so hopefully I didn't bore you guys with the last time I spoke to you guys. If you weren't around for the last video, my name is David Mackie, CFL professional football player for the BC Lions for the last 4 years. Graduated from Bill Crothers in 2012. And the last one, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight on the realities of being a professional football player, the excitement about being a professional athlete, the time management skills it takes to be a university athlete. And now I'm going to share a little bit about my own journey, kind of my personal experiences from going to Bill Crothers to leaving Bill Crothers, and how I've got to be a pro and how I've managed to stay a professional for 4 years. As I spoke in the last video, that the average career is only a year. This has been a crazy year for everyone. We didn't even have a season, but how I've been able to maintain and sign a new contract with BC, and everything that has come to this point. Like I touched on in the last video, I've never really sat down and thought about individual milestones or individual things I've had to endure or go through to get to where I'm at. I think there's a lot of people that could even be listening to this at the school that have had a lot harder upbringings and gone through a lot more than I have. And I don't want to, downplay anything that someone's going through. And if anyone that's listening to this, anyone in this school, you can find me on social media, reach out to me, and I'd love to help you out with whatever you're going through. But at the same time, this video doesn't have to be for everyone going through a tough time, and not every professional athlete has to go through a number of different trials and tribulations. You can have a pretty fantastic upbringing and no injuries and just work hard and get to the pros, and you know what? That's amazing. You know what? I hope that's what every single one of you can do. And you're surrounded by a loving family, and you're surrounded by amazing teachers, and you can just work hard, go to college, go to the pros, have a great career, move on, and have a happy life. But the reality is eventually something's going to happen that is out of your control that could bring you down. You're going to run into a bad relationship with a coach. You're going to get injured. Or maybe you've already gone through a number of those things and you're hoping to move past that and develop better relationships and move on to the next level. I think part of me too, I've never really sat down and thought about those milestones because there's still so much in my life I have yet to achieve, and a lot of things that I still want to do, and I'm not satisfied with where I'm at in my own life, and I've gone about my entire life that way, and I'm going to continue to go about it that way after sports. When sports have come and gone, that was an amazing time, but then I got bigger and more important things to take care of, like my family, my loved ones, and the career that I want to have after football. But that being said, it would be a spit in the face of the former version of myself, the young man that sat in the same classrooms that you guys are at. It would be a spit in his face to say that I have yet to achieve anything, and for everything that man went through and did, I think I would do a disservice not to share his story. A disservice to a lot of the teachers that are still at Bill Crothers that helped myself go through a lot to get to the university level and ultimately carry that same chip on my shoulder that they helped me through to get to the level I'm at now. Little backstory. Grew up in Jackson's Point, Ontario. I'm sure a lot of you guys know where that is. I'm sure a lot of you guys don't know where that is. Now that the highway, 404, extends all the way up to Keswick. No, I'm not from Keswick. Don't ever say I'm from Keswick. I'm from Jackson's Point. If you say from Sutton, I'll accept it. But I grew up little town there. And in the 7th grade, there was an article in our paper saying there was going to be a school opening for athletes. And I thought that was insane. I loved athletics. My family couldn't afford to play any sort of competitive athletics other than house league soccer and some house league baseball, softball. But I always wanted to be the best. I always wanted to be the best athlete. My family didn't have much. We didn't have a lot of money, couldn't afford a lot of food. And I saw an opportunity because I saw how amazing professional athletes were on television, and they can have a pretty amazing life. So this article in the newspaper said there was going to be a school opening. And sure enough, when I was midway through the 8th grade, there was an ad in the paper for information sessions, and my mother and I jumped on a go bus, and we went out to meet Becky Green, the old principal, and Miss Jackson, the science teacher. Biology taught me in grade 12 and all sorts of other schools. All my other grades. She was there as well, and we got information about this school, and I said, Mom, I got to go. And the problem is it was going to be a 2-hour commute on the bus to get to school when there's a high school that's 1 kilometer down the street in my hometown. We don't have money we didn't own a car. We couldn't get there, so I had to either take public transit or ask for a school bus. And I got in. I got it accepted. Everyone's been through that acceptance process. And when I got accepted, we kind of said, I guess let's try and make this work. Let's try and put some money aside for me to take a bus. And we made it work. And when I started in the summer, August 2008, we weren't even at Bill Crothers yet. The school wasn't even finished. What you guys are living in today, we wasn't even finished. We were at Unionville, and we were there for a month. And I was one of the first kids to walk in Bill Crothers when it was barely even finished in that September. It was crazy. There was only like 300 of us. But getting there, I didn't have a role. Like, everyone there was exceptional. They were all like you. You guys have an unbelievable, track record already. You compete for all these different clubs, and you have amazing opportunities, and your families have been able to provide you the resources to play high levels of sport, gymnastics, rugby, hockey, whatever your sport is. And I didn't have a sport. I said football, but I never played a snap of football. I wanted to play basketball, and in the 9th grade, I got cut from the basketball team. But Mr. McCutcheon started the 7s rugby team, and I was like, okay, I think I can do this. I can wrap my head around this. And this is the first time I've had a team, a culture, something I belonged to. We didn't even have uniforms. We wore our gray and white gym shirts and our black shorts that we had. That was our uniform in 7s rugby. But it was awesome. It was the first time I got to compete for a team and be surrounded with people that understood what it was like to compete for a team. It was unbelievable. And I wanted to play football so bad. And Eleanor, he wanted it, I think, even more than I did. And we got it together. And sure enough, in that 10th grade, we had an opportunity to start. And Gouge was there. And it was unbelievable. We threw together a team. I finally got an opportunity to play football. I finally got to have a sense of belonging, right? I was making my family proud. I was getting up at, just before 5 a.m. I was on the bus at 5:30. I would get on the school bus, and I would be on it for 2.5 hours. I would get to school. I would do school. I would then practice, and I would have to take public transit home because I was staying late. So I wouldn't get home until, 9:30 p.m. But I didn't care. You know what? I finally had a sense of pride. People looked at me because I was good, and I had an opportunity to play. And it was the first time I felt like I was making my family proud, and my mom and dad were excited I had something to belong to. And that year, that was in the 10th grade, my mom decided to just walk out and leave us financially struggling more than we already had been. So now I was doing all that, and I had to start work so we could put food on the table. So now I had a sense of belonging with football, but I was now working on weekends. I left the house at 5:30. I would get home at 8:30, 9 o'clock some days, and sometimes work in evenings. I had this job where I was cleaning out wine barrels. I would work till midnight, sometimes get 3-4 hours sleep, go back to school. But I loved it. And I absolutely loved the culture of Bill Crothers and the people I was surrounded with. And I was in the right area. I was finally surrounded with my own people that love sports. People didn't care where I came from. People didn't know how little money I had. We all got to wear the same thing. We all got to wear sweats. We all represented the same thing. We all represented a love for sport. We all represented the need for sport. The teachers represented it. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. family, I couldn't afford to keep busing back and forth to school, and we didn't have heating in my home. The furnace didn't work, so we were sleeping all around a space heater with my dad and my brother and my sister, and it was crazy. But I got an opportunity. I continued to excel at football, even though in the 11th grade we didn't win a game. Grade 12 we won one game, but in grade 12 I got presented an opportunity, and people started mentioning university, and that was something I had no idea. No one in my family got into school. We couldn't afford school. I didn't know what that took. I didn't know how it was gonna work. I didn't know anything. And when I finally started to figure it out that there was a chance to go to university, my dad fell very sick. We were sitting there in December, and it was the Christmas assembly. I'm pretty sure Mr. Martyr was doing backflips and crap all over the stage, and I got a call saying my dad's in hospital. So right away, forget about school. All I cared about was making sure my dad was okay. Picked up more work. Right, he was out of work, so I was working